Orange County, California has shut down all operations due to a spike in COVID-19. Will that impact downtown Disney's reopening plans? Modified character dining, well, it is returning to Epcot. And will Walt Disney World's theme park reopening happen as scheduled after all, due to a ridiculous spike of COVID-19 cases across the country? It's the 4th of July. Kingdom Report Live starts right now.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
With a live look outside at the Disneyland Resort area in Anaheim, you see the sidewalk across the street from Disneyland Park, just in front of the Hojo Anaheim, indeed. That is a spot where you can go say hello if you're ever in the neighborhood in downtown Anaheim, or excuse me, in the resort district. There you see. All right, now you get some perspective with the Matterhorn in the distance, Splash Mountain in the distance, and even closer to us, little Space Mountain action. The hotels of the resort out there as well. It's a wonderful look at the 4th of July, Disneyland, perhaps the only 4th of July where they've never been open. Hello, everybody. Wade Heath joining you here from the Warner Brothers Studios Media District in beautiful Burbank, California, where we have so much Disney news and discussion to get to. Happy 4th of July, everybody. What an honor it is to be a part of your weekend on America's birthday. So special to have you as part of the broadcast. We got a team here with us, as always, to discuss all the news and topics of the day. And who's with us, you might be asking? Well, let's take a look. From AttractionFaction.net, it is Tyler Crouch, Katrina Manzone. Hello, friends.
Hi, everybody.
Hey,
Happy
happy
4th.
4th. Look at that. We did it in
Jinx.
unison. Now I owe you a Coke.
You know what?
That's love.
I should have said the same thing at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
All the rehearsal
You
down
can
the
get
drain.
with the program, and
Next time.
we'll do it next time.
I will do my best
Yep.
to be more in sync with you the next time. And
It's all good.
I thought we all shared a mind.
I forgive you.
I guess not as much as I thought. So
Oh,
You gotta work
now
together
I'm
a
making
little bit
now I feel like we're making him the poor guy sad.
Yeah,
I
well.
love you.
wish I could say the same. Ladies and gentlemen,
Dang.
from Nebraska, holding out in the middle of the country until he can fashionably return to Walt Disney World in Orlando, it's our Walt Disney World reporter, Gared Hassel, looking very patriotic.
Happy birthday, America. I just want to say today is a salute to all nations, but mostly America.
Hear,
And
hear.
Yeah, and I'm repping the good red, white, and blue right there.
Mm.
Yeah. I got the Betty Ross, or is it Betsy? Betsy. I did not do well in American history. I did better in world history. But
I guess so.
I've got a flag on me, regardless of that fact, and hope everyone's having a fantastic day. If you haven't already done so, go check out Hamilton on Disney Plus. But don't tell me anything. Haven't finished it, except spoilers. I think George Washington's in there, so who knows?
Has anybody here seen Hamilton yet on Disney
No,
Plus?
not yet.
I think we're gonna watch
tonight.
it tonight. I think that's the plan.
Yeah. I wasn't feeling great last night. I was going to. So I was like, no, I'm going to hold out.
But you're feeling great today.
Yeah, I do.
Naturally.
I feel
Look
great.
at that.
Obviously, because Kingdom Report makes me live.
Yeah, it brings you a whole new spirit.
Makes me live live.
Wow. Live life.
We're sleeping all week, and then Saturday comes around. Okay.
I do the same thing. I just kind of lay there.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
You know.
6 days. And then all of a sudden Saturday comes back around.
It's just like, this
Here I
is
am.
the day. This is the only day that matters.
Right.
Honestly.
I mean, what else can you do during this quarantine besides just sleep all day, right?
Literally nothing.
Yeah. Literally
I just rest. Yeah. And speaking of the man that's always resting, from the production dungeon, It's producer Curt.
Well,
Hello, sir.
Hello. I have my cup here.
You have a cup? You have a sipper, you say?
I do.
What do we have
It's
there?
green though, so
it's
it's gonna.
leaking.
Oh,
yeah,
my
you're gonna
gosh.
see it right through it. Oh, hey, look at that.
Whoa.
It's got water in it. And then
That poison is so strong it literally breaks the apple. That is something.
It's impressive, right?
Queen never planned
Tears
for.
of poison.
She never planned for that.
and then because Gared, showed me asked me to bring Stitch. I have Stitch here too.
Oh, your dog, your sweet pug Stitch. Let's take a look.
So he's here ready today. He's got his
Hey, look at
little bow
that.
tie.
Look at him.
and he does not
So
like to be on
dapper.
camera.
Dressed so dapper, feeling the fourth.
He's like,
Stitch looks like Percy from Pocahontas, which is about indigenous people of America. So,
Stitch does look like Percy from Pocahontas. You're right. And we're happy to
like,
have him here.
Where's his carousel of bones?
He
That's
really,
what I want to know.
he really should have one, I think.
I want
we
the
all should.
biscuits. Where are the biscuits at?
He's a sweet little boy, and we're thrilled that he could be with us in studio, and running around, bringing some 4th of July cheer to everybody involved. But let's get to the big stories of the week. As I had mentioned, when it comes down to it, it looks like Orange County has gone out of their way to be having themselves some operations indoor shut down with a spike of COVID-19 cases yet again. It appears that downtown Disney might be potentially impacted. The governor of the state of California says all counties are on the monitoring list, including LA and Orange County, and must close indoor operations until further notice. The guidance is in place for a minimum of 3 weeks, so that goes right into downtown Disney's sort of start date of July 9th. And that is going to impact a lot of things, especially when it comes to dining. And I know that when it comes to like retail, that's kind of what downtown Disney is sort of labeled as. It's a retail outlet. And so we haven't heard anything from Disney on if they are going to be adjusting the July 9th start date for downtown Disney's grand reopening. We did learn that obviously with the Disneyland Resort delaying further their reopening schedule, no longer being on July 17th, but instead coming about a little bit later on after they get approval from the state of California following the 4th of July. They are going to come up with a new date. However, this is kind of interesting because things now are once again going back into shutdown mode, just as Disneyland in California is starting to reopen and trying their best to reopen things. One of the other things that we wanted to mention was that it does appear that cast members are having a cast preview of Downtown Disney and whatever is going to be offered at downtown on July the 8th coming up. So that is still in effect. That is still happening and has not been addressed by Disney either. So they do get a sort of limited experience in that regard and get to test things out as Downtown Disney does its phased reopening. And then the other thing that we wanted to talk about when it comes to Downtown Disney at Disneyland is the void at Downtown Disney is now permanently closed. So we had heard originally that this was just temporary, along with a lot of the businesses in Downtown Disney. They had just closed up shop for a while. They were going to be back. And now it looks like there's a permanent closure for the void in Downtown Disney, and all sort of stemming around a licensing agreement breach. Now, the question really becomes, Tyler, if Disney Springs and the void there is going to be affected by this. As of right now, there's no word about this licensing breach being a problem out there. I assume that the void was a collective business where a licensing breach kind of impacts all their locations because they all sort of use very similar technologies, similar storylines in the technology sector.
Sure.
So we're wondering about Disney Springs right now, but we had questioned what was going to happen to the void post-COVID.
I mean, I was thinking they were going to close regardless of what happened, just because of coronavirus. Not because they were going to close, to be safe or just anything like that, but just because I just figured nobody was going to go.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this is a really weird kind of story. I read the whole entire thing that was they posted the actual I don't know what you want to call it, like legal document on their storefront, and I read the whole thing, and I'm like, I still don't really get what exactly they did to breach this license agreement.
It's very unclear.
Yeah, it's very unclear. So it's hard to say for sure if they're going to be closing the one in Disney Springs because we're not really sure exactly what happened. This could have been some type of agreement that maybe only affected the California one. I'm not really quite sure. So time will tell, but it seems like the Void is going to be in big trouble because I think their number one seller. I mean, I know they had a Ghostbusters VR thing at some of the locations, but I think their number one seller is like Star Wars and Wreck-It Ralph and stuff like that. So I don't know, even if they do come back somehow, I think that business is just kind of in trouble.
Yeah. And it's one of those experiences where people have to put on headsets, and it's very touchy-feely is this experience. And so that was the reason why we had questioned whether or not it was going to be able to come back in a adapted COVID world, just because there's so much sanitation that would have to go into absolutely everything, and would that even make people feel comfortable? But back to the idea of Downtown Disney now being sort of in the crosshairs of yet another reduction in ability to reopen, another restriction-based implementation for health mandates. Katrina, Downtown Disney is in a situation where they had already Disneyland Resort had already kind of waited, and pushed this out further and further, and finally Downtown Disney gets approved by the state to reopen, along with 2 hotels of the Disneyland Resort. They've now said they're not going to reopen those hotels until a later date, but now Downtown Disney's coming back online July the 9th. We're only a couple days away. Do you see any sort of backing up on Disney's part here?
It's hard to say, but I feel like they're not going to back up at all. I feel like now that they've already, and it's like steamrolling, but they're just already going, that there's no way to like pump the brakes to kind of slow it down. But there is a lot of, if they want to think outside the box, there's a lot of outside areas that they can make, build up shop and like make outdoor dining feasible. There's a lot of outdoor dining for Tortilla Joe's. There's a lot of outdoor dining in Uva Bar, because that's like all outside dining. Then there's outside dining at Catal, and so there's a whole section between Tortilla Joe's and Splitsville that literally no one sits in. So they could probably build up and make like a new like little patio section. I wouldn't say for Splitsville, but I would say Tortilla Joe's is probably like the moneymaker. But I would say that they have to do something creative to bring people into Downtown Disney, so there's dining involved, because honestly there's not really a lot of shopping to do. I'm not really gonna go to Sunglass Hut and try on 5-10 pairs of sunglasses. How are they gonna keep that under control?
Right.
Really.
Then
I will say real quick that Knott's actually just they've had their fried chicken going on for a while, but they just they closed the road down, and they put a bunch of tables all out there, and then they're doing like live entertainment now too.
So alfresco dining.
Yeah, so they can definitely do something like you were mentioning.
Oh
no
yeah,
doubt about
there's
it.
like a band they could probably set up, like, because there's always some kind of street performer at Downtown Disney to kind of liven up the mood. So they can put people in 2 different sections, and then they just redid Naples, and so that outside seating it's like massive, and so I feel like there's a lot of opportunity that they can open at half capacity, but then Naples has to kind of change the rules around a little bit, because upstairs, or I don't know, so at Naples, the downstairs seating menu is completely different than the upstairs seating menu. So if you wanted pasta, you couldn't get it downstairs. You'd have to go upstairs and get it. And it was like a nightmare. It was really weird.
Now there's something I didn't even know.
Yeah, they had 2 different menus, and so they kind of wanted pizza focus downstairs. More, grab a drink, sit with friends, shareable kind of foods.
Casual.
Yeah, like a little casual thing. And now I feel like they're gonna have to kind of do one full menu for downstairs, and then. I could see it possibly working for, a couple locations here and there, but the retail stores, I don't think that's going to work out very well. I don't know
what
what
you go there for, you would go to World of Disney, and then what? I don't know.
Annual pass holders, I'm going to speak for myself, but we would go for food. That's what Downtown Disney is all about. Eating, having fun, having a couple drinks, maybe looking to see what kind of new merchandise there is. Vacationers are the ones that actually go to the stores and, go to Starbucks and all that stuff. So I don't know. Disney's going to have to remain open, but just be creative on their dining and their dining options. And some of the retail, I feel like they shouldn't even open. Like Sunglass Hut, I can't imagine these poor people trying to like disinfect all these sunglasses one after another. And then the poor cast members that are at World of Disney trying to disinfect everything because everybody's touching all the product. So I don't know how they're doing it like World of Disney in Florida, but I just can't. I don't know. It's going to be crazy. They're going to have to be creative, but I think they're still going to try to keep it going.
Yeah, and
at some point.
Gared, let's check in with you when it comes to Disneyland Resort's Downtown Disney. Do you imagine so close to go time that Disneyland might sort of pull back a little bit on this reopening process, or you think they're going to go for it?
At this point, with there being 4 days to go really until opening, I don't think they really can pull back at this point. I think they could they'll keep it open, but they'll just have to add more restrictions. But for me, honestly, I wouldn't even bother going there. I know for me to go out there, it's more of a vacation, but the only people I can really imagine going there are locals, cast members, and maybe some people from the nearby counties, because even to get from you get from downtown LA to there, it can easily be an hour and a half drive, depending on traffic. Luckily, there's not much traffic, but for me, downtown Disney is not really worth it right now because you can't really do much. You can't see much. I just imagine, because most of those restaurants are indoors, I just imagine just tables everywhere and then just barricade. Okay, this is the Jazz Kitchen. That's House of Blues. That's Naples. That's Starbucks. And I don't think it will work out, but I don't think Disney's going to pull back at all. They're going to keep it rolling because it brings in money, and any money is better than no money, because for 3 months they've been making no cash at all. So it's going to be tough. I think it's going to be a horrible thing to see. I don't think it's going to be very pretty, but I'm looking forward to the news.
Yeah, we'll definitely see what happens as Downtown Disney comes back online, officially July the 9th, with the cast member preview the day before. Obviously, reduced capacity. Obviously, a lot of health and safety measures are going into place to try and, keep everybody as safe as possible in this open air environment. But there are plenty of places where you can dip into a store, dip into a location, with all of the new restrictions that the state of California is putting in place as we sort of roll things back in sort of the mandated restrictions of all of our health concerns and COVID-19 spiking. It definitely makes you wonder what's going to happen as Downtown Disney officially reopens. We do hope for their sake and the cast members' sake that it is healthy, happy, and a little bit magical. Looks like Epcot has a character dining experience returning. Yeah, so if you weren't aware, Walt Disney World has had very limited options in terms of how character dining is going to be rolled out upon the Walt Disney World phased reopening process. As of right now, this is only the second option that they have added to the list, the first being at Topolino's Terrace at a resort hotel outside of the theme parks. And as the theme parks set to reopen on July the 11th and then July 15th in a phased reopening process, this experience here, the Garden Grill restaurant inside of Epcot and the Land Pavilion, the rotating restaurant on the second floor of the Land Pavilion, well, it's set to reopen with a modified character dining experience. Perhaps you've heard us talk in prior broadcasts about what the modifications are like in other parks. So we spoke a little bit about what things look like in Hong Kong Disneyland as well as Shanghai, and how they've sort of done a drive-by scenario when it comes to those characters. And you're no longer going to be able to necessarily meet characters right up front. You're no longer going to be able to hug those characters and have them come right up to your table and engage with them. Instead, it sounds like more of a ceremonial moment or two where they are going to parade through the restaurant, do a couple of things at a distance, and then move on. Katrina, we've talked about this before a little bit, and it's interesting to see that Garden Grill has been brought online. Garden Grill, it being sort of a two-tiered restaurant, right? You can sit on one level or the other and it rotates. As great as it is that additional character dining is being brought online here, it doesn't seem as though there's a whole lot of space in this restaurant to be at a distance as a character. Things are pretty close together in terms of how it's stacked. How do you imagine they're going to be doing this at Garden Grill?
I don't know. I've personally never eaten at Garden Grill before, but we've only gone by when we do Living with the Land, which is great. It's a great ride.
Everybody loves it.
It's great.
I love Living with the Land.
But I've seen the characters go by, and I can see them maybe trying to at least keep keep a small distance. I've heard nothing bad about the new Topolino Terrace, dining situation with the character breakfast. So I know that they're doing like a pretty good job keeping a distance, and Topolino is completely different size in the restaurant compared to Garden Grill. But I know that Disney's kind of desperate to get a character dining in a park because, again, they really, really need it. I don't think a lot of people are going to go to Topolino Terrace to go pay a certain amount for for that breakfast and not have like Goofy and Chip and Dale and all that stuff to go into the park or to go and do that kind of dining situation. So I can see them trying to push Garden Grill and for them to space guests out and making sure that the characters kind of stay on the outer rim as far as possible away from the guests. I mean, they're gonna have to like maybe not linger for a long time, but just like come by, stand for a little bit, and then just keep moving. So I think they're just gonna try to like keep it rotating as fast as possible. I don't really know how they're gonna situate the characters as far as like pretty much like up against the glass area where like the walkway is. That's
entirely likely. Well, let's ask Gared. He's somebody that worked in entertainment at Walt Disney World. He could probably answer this better than anybody. How do you imagine they're going to set up a distanced character dining experience at Garden Grill of all places?
2 words, very creatively. But so Wade, you and I have both worked in entertainment dining before. It's completely different than any other experience. Luckily, with the social distancing, you'll have a lot more room. But the way I imagine it is like that restaurant is just so tightly packed. It is like from the table to say the walkway, it's only maybe 3 or 4 feet, 5 max. So I imagine the character's going to hug the wall, and then the family's going to take a selfie. That's the closest thing I can see this thing going. And I feel bad for the performers just because walking around and around and around and around, it's going to be nauseating. It's going to be exhausting. And like what part of the character experience is getting to experience the characters. In this situation, you're not experiencing the characters. You are just witnessing them. You don't get any real interaction. Like you can wave at them. I think a better idea would be maybe when you enter the restaurant, you can like take like a socially distanced picture where you're in front and they're in the background or something. But I think it's going to be kind of awkward, but like leave it to Walt Disney World Entertainment to come up with something creative. But like Chip and Dale, thank goodness all the characters are not together. Like they each come one at a time. So there'll be opportunities, but it will not be the same experience that many people are accustomed to. I think it's just going to be a wave, an air high five, maybe a still little dance, or if one of the characters sees like, oh, birthday, you'll be like, oh, happy birthday or something like that. But it will not be this touching moment where in the picture that we showed for the story with the little girl touching Dale or Chip's nose, that's not happening at all. No touching the characters at all. But it will be an interesting experience. I'm looking forward to see how it turns out because like characters, they thrive on creativity. And when you put an obstacle in front of them, their goal is to, how do we get around this? How can we make this work? So I'm looking forward to seeing videos and interactions of how they make this work. But no doubt there's going to be a lot of selfies going on. A lot of selfies.
A lot of selfies indeed. Yeah, no touchy. It sounds like.
Are they going to do autographs?
Yeah.
That's like my heart aches for like the little kids that just are so excited to get like Chip and Dale's autograph, and now you can't even do that anymore, like an air autograph.
I think what we'll see is sort of what we see in certain environments that are very, or I guess had been, very high capacity character meet and greets where they are starting to do this more and more, where you saw a lot of those characters forego the autograph giving, and instead a host or somebody that was with that character would walk the line and hand out pre-autographed items. Whether it be a card, whether it be some sort of item that would just have their signature on it, they would be passing that out as they went. Tyler, I can kind of see a situation here because of the way Garden Grill is stacked, where they have a ring of tables on the bottom and a ring of tables above that. Perhaps that top ring doesn't get filled with anybody dining, and that bottom ring, is spaced out and has people dining, and they just bring those characters out on that top ring and have them waving at a distance. You already have the barriers there. I just can't imagine kids in this environment being able to see these characters. You're already paying the premium, being able to see these characters and not being able to have any sort of real access to them. You're just at a distance.
Yeah, it seems like it's going to be real weird, and I know we've when we first talked about character dining a few episodes ago, I don't know, a month ago or so, I just thought to myself, you said the premium price, I would never want to spend that much money on food that, frankly, I've heard is not the greatest.
Depending on the restaurant.
Well, I'm talking about Garden Grill specifically.
Sure,
I've heard that I've never eaten there, like Katrina said, and one of the reasons we never eaten there is because we haven't really heard good things about it.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine paying that premium price for that character experience and then not really getting it. Like Gared said, it's going to be a lot of like faraway characters, and they're going to wave at you, and I could go anywhere in the park and wave at Mickey Mouse, and he'll probably wave back at me. Like, I don't need to pay extra
Even in
money
the
for it,
parade.
Yeah,
No.
the parade. Yeah, well, there's not going to be a parade,
know.
but yeah. So I just don't know how this makes money for them. I mean, I know how it makes money for them, but I just don't know if it's going to be like a popular thing. I guess I'm really curious to just see a video or something that somebody takes while they're there, because I think that's probably a good idea, what you said, Wade, of them kind of splitting up the restaurant and not having anybody on the top. And but it seems like it's going to be really hard logistically.
Yeah, we will see. I know that that upcharge, it's a big deal for a lot of families because it's super expensive if you, add that up by 4 or 5 people in your family and you go to a character dining experience. You sort of expect a lot out of it because you're paying a lot. And that's definitely something that I know has always been in Disney's minds is, how do we make sure that people walk away feeling overly satisfied about a character dining experience, because they know it's costly. They know you have big expectations when you come into it. So to even reopen in a phased capacity these character dining experiences, I think it's brave to reopen character dining and definitely to try and give people some options here. I just don't know if it's going to be worth it to be able to see characters at a distance, but we will reserve our judgment until we see it for sure. We just are going based off of what we've already seen in place in Hong Kong and in Shanghai, and it just looks like really just a drive-by. Those characters are at a distance, they're waving and off they go. We have seen it at Topolino's Terrace, where it's been much the same thing. So, they're waving at a distance, they are taking those selfies at a distance. So, I mean, you get them in the shot, I suppose that's good, but you don't really get that one-on-one interaction like you would originally. So, great to have character dining back in some capacity. I'll say I'm thrilled to have it, period. But at the same time, I understand that it's very taxing when it comes to the price. So we will take a look at what the Garden Grill looks like very soon as Epcot officially reopens. Walt Disney World, is it about to pull back on plans to reopen as Florida COVID-19 cases go through the roof? Well, as Disneyland already pulled back on their original July 17th start date, Walt Disney World doesn't look to be doing the same. In fact, with Disney Springs already in action and some of their Disney Vacation Club resorts already in play, it does not sound as though Walt Disney World is going to be pulling back from any sort of phased reopening of the theme parks after all, even as those cases rise. And it does appear that Walt Disney World even made a statement when it came to this, saying the following, mentioning that given the time required for us to bring thousands of cast members back to work and restart our business, we have no choice but to delay the reopening of our theme parks and resort hotels until we receive approval from government officials. So that was for Disneyland. Okay, so I want to make that very clear. So Disneyland officials said that about how they got that sort of last minute 11th hour decline from the state, basically saying we're not ready to give you the approval yet, you're going to have to wait. And so they couldn't do that in the window that they wanted to, right? So if they had to wait until after the 4th of July to hear if they could even reopen, a July 17th date was just not going to happen. Well, Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida now has said he has no plans of rolling back any sort of business reopenings at this point, especially theme parks, as other theme parks have already come online. So as Disney ventures into this, Tyler, it's like something that could potentially bite them if they're not careful.
Yeah, I don't even know what to say about it. It seems like it's one of those things where how can I don't know. They're not worried about safety, in my opinion, because they have to really think about if this is exactly what they want to do. It just seems like it's just not going to go well. Things are going bad in Florida as it is with so many cases that are coming up now, and I just feel like they're going to be kind of part of this coronavirus problem, unfortunately. I'm glad that they're keeping Disneyland closed. I hope they don't open downtown Disney. Even when we were in Vegas last weekend, which was a really kind of a dumb thing to do, I know, but we did it. But when we were there were so many people that just really didn't care about safety or rules or anything like that. And I just see that same exact thing happening whenever they decide to open at Disney. So we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully they decide they're going to close their doors over there. That's what I think they need to do. But
we definitely see cast members already being trained. In fact, Disney had released a video earlier this week of cast members sort of back in action, going through all the new safety guidelines, enhancements, and training that are going to be needed for reopening their theme parks. And certainly the cast members they talked to sounded very happy that the parks were going to be reopening. But Katrina, Universal Orlando has been open now for a little over a month, right? So, or they're coming up on it. So they've already been open, and I know that other theme parks in the Orlando attraction corridor have also reopened at this point. We're seeing Universal lay people off now. Do you imagine we're going to see a scenario where Walt Disney World faces a similar fate?
Yes. It's really sad to see. It breaks my heart to see people let go because of what's happening. And you know that Disney World's not going to need outside vendors. And I feel like they're going to be like the first ones to go.
Yeah.
And Disney, I know, is not going to waste time to try to like reposition them to make them do other things. And it really breaks my heart to see anybody let go in any kind of capacity, and this is like kind of out of their hands. There's no place to put them, and I feel like outside vendors are going to be pretty much them and like part of entertainment, because there's not going to be that much entertainment anymore. And then the pyrotechnic guys.
yeah, what are they supposed to do?
Not really, like guys and gals, not all guys,
Peeps.
The pyrotechnic peeps. There's like a lot of important things that either they're gonna like remain on furlough or until they're like needed, but I don't think Disney's going to do that because they're like wasting money. So yeah, I don't know.
We did see, we have a friend who works, she's a California adventure worker, and she got a call the other day, and they wanted her to come and work at downtown Disney, which she moved from downtown Disney, so she doesn't really want to go back again. And I totally respect that. I get that. So, maybe they will start trying to shuffle people around a little bit, but you're right. For a lot of the, the parade people, the technical people and all that stuff, what are they supposed to do?
I think what they're going to try to do is, again, there are different lists that they're going to call, right? So they're going to call merchandise people. They're going to go down the list and they're going to say, do you want to work? And then they'll go around the first time and then everybody will say no. Then they're going around the second time, and that's when you either get fired or you go to work. And that's how they're going to dwindle down these people that are going to say, I'm not ready to work. And they're like, okay, well, I have to let you go then. And then that's how they're going to lay people off. Because there are people out there that are more than willing to work in these circumstances. And it really makes me like sad for these people that are not comfortable to work in these circumstances, that have been working for Disney for X number of years. And they go around that second time around the list and they say, are you going to work or are you not going to work? And they're going to say, I'm not comfortable working. Then they're let go. And then it's just one of those things that it really makes you frustrated. And with Universal, I'm not sure how they're letting people go, but I know in Hollywood, they let, a string of people go. And unfortunately, one of our friends was part of it. And so they're, Universal Hollywood's going through the same thing as Florida did. So it's inevitable that Disneyland's going to have the same thing in Disney World.
And we heard
they're not even open yet.
Yeah. And we heard that Hollywood is going to go through a second run of letting people go too. So it's just, that's what's going to happen, unfortunately. And Disney is definitely going to do the same exact thing. It's really sad But
Yeah, and they certainly have to recoup their costs. They've lost a lot of revenue, and these parks have always been a cushion for the company.
Yeah.
To fail in other categories, and the parks have always been the most reliable thing. Well, now when your parks just aren't open, you don't have that cushion anymore. And we saw a lot of sort of pushback from the Disneyland side of the cast member employee unions when it came to Disneyland officially reopening, and a lot more aggressive approaches when it came to those cast member unions. Those cast members being far more vocal about not reopening, come July 17th, and based on the state not putting any sort of authorization in play, they got their way. So we'll see what happens when it comes to Disneyland's official reopening date. But back to Disney World for a second, there are a few unions that have spoken up about Walt Disney World's reopening. In fact, Mary McCall, the executive director of Actors Equity Association, she said the following: "If Disneyland is postponed, it's unclear how Walt Disney World can responsibly move toward reopening when coronavirus cases are much worse in Florida at this point." Obviously, things change every day. Obviously, things change week to week with this ridiculous virus. And it's like you can't plan for anything anymore because this virus just continues to wreak havoc on every plan. Every well-laid, well-intentioned plan continues to be upended. Gared, do you imagine that Walt Disney World is going to pull back in any capacity from its theme park reopening dates, or in a more limited approach?
I think it will be, if anything, more limited before they completely cancel it, since Governor DeSantis is still trying to push forward with this. I think it's a gamble on part of Disney as well as the government, if that makes sense. What I mean by it is, I think that Disney typically runs a lot of things. Like, Disney controls the tourism game. Like, if Disney's open, everything else is open. If Disney's open, flights are happening. And I think that what people are hoping is that people, when they go to Disney World, they will have to follow the safety regulations that they create. And in turn, that will create a wave that will go over everything, because like, oh, Disney World is being like safe about it and like wearing masks and all that stuff, and there's not as many cases. I think they're hoping that will project across the nation and will in turn make other people want to do it. For example, many years ago, Japan got hit with a tsunami and an earthquake, and they don't have someone that says the nation's closed. And so Tokyo Disneyland was the one that's like, we're reopening, and that brought hope back into people. So I think it could have a similar effect with Walt Disney World, the flagship of joy and magic. If that reopens and everything goes well, I think that will bring people back in, and maybe it will bring cases down, but ultimately it comes down to the individual. But I don't think that they're going to cancel plans for it. If they were to cancel anything, they would probably cancel the 2 other parks opening on the 15th. They would just keep, I believe it's just Magic Kingdom and Animal Kingdom, and they would hold back on Studios and Epcot. But it's there's a week to go, but a lot can happen in a week. That's what we're learning with Disney News, is that like in one day, like at the beginning of the week, there's nothing bad. By the end of the week, there's 18,000 different things going on. So ultimately it's going to come down to it's going to be a last second call, similar to Disneyland's. I think they're going to keep trudging on with the reopening, but maybe more limited. Maybe they'll have less attractions. Maybe they'll cancel more dining stuff with characters. Bye-bye Garden Grill. But who knows? I just hope that everyone's safe and that the cast members are staying safe. And my heart goes out to them, but I also know that it's a numbers game. It comes down to what's the return for shareholders. That's the baseline of everything. Magic is wonderful, but it's a business, and it sounds cold-hearted, but I don't mean it like that. I just hope that things go well, because I want things to go well. I don't want things to fail. I want things to go well. But yeah,
well,
it's gonna be interesting.
The CEO of Disney, Bob Chapek, he even said that. I mean, he's like, it has to be profitable for us to reopen. And so they weren't going to be doing that unless it was something there where they could like break even and make a little bit of money. It's a business. It's not a charity. So, we always make sure that we underscore that. Obviously, as magical as Disney is, it's a business first and foremost. And knowing that Walt Disney World is planning that comeback on July 11th for theme parks to to start that phased reopening, it does become very concerning to see these COVID cases rising, and the key point being hospitalizations and deaths. If those are rising in all of the capacities, that's also something to be very, very nervous about. And guys, I feel like Disney, they know that they have to get this right because this is a huge gamble. They understand that. They have to understand that, which is why I think they waited so much longer than the other theme parks, where the other theme parks sort of jumped in feet first and were like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Disney held back a little bit, I think, just assuming things were going to get better. And for a brief period, it seemed like that's what happened. And then all of a sudden, boom, we're back to terrible things going on again in terms of numbers. And it's such a gamble.
It really is. It's going to be like Gared just said. It's like things change every day at this point, and it's been actually kind of the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life because things will seem like they're going okay one day, and then the next day things are upside down again, and that's just going to keep on going forward until we figure out a way to really combat this. I mean, honestly. I hate to say it, it's like the Karens of the world and the Todds of the world. They're ending it they're really spoiling it for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And if you're so worried about wanting the economy to reopen and having everything continue forward, then just do your part. It's not that hard. It really isn't. So
we're all in this together, people.
Yeah, we're all in it together. So
just like High School Musical once said. Again, if Disney wants to open, they need to put their foot down and force people to wear their dang masks. And then Tyler and I talked about it recently, and because West Hollywood just put fines. If they catch you outside, police can write you a fine for I think $250 for your first offense, $300 for your second. And I feel like Disney needs to do that, not in monetary ways. I mean, they'd be able to make it up pretty quickly. But if they were, if they put their foot down saying, if we catch you, this is like your first warning, your pass is suspended for a day. And then if they catch you again, then you're done for a week or something, and then a month, to put their foot down and tell that people that they're not joking. They're like, mom and dad, right? And they tell, the kids are messing around, and the mom and dad says, hey, don't do this anymore. And they go, okay. And then they turn around and they still continue to do it. The parents need to kind of do something about it and ground them.
I know that they're like a hospitality company and they're trying to make everybody's day magical and everything, right? But if we're going to all consider this to be unsafe, right? Wouldn't they also kick somebody out of their park for doing something unsafe, like jumping out of a ride vehicle or going backstage or just whatever? I mean, they would kick that person out. So I don't understand why they're so hesitant to do something about people not wearing their masks, because I feel like that's exactly the same thing of like putting other people in danger because of your actions, So that's just what I think. But I know a lot of people disagree with me. That's okay. We don't all have to be on the same page, but we would get through this a lot faster if we were. So
well, and to that other side, I think that there's been so much in terms of what's effective and what's not, and while the mask situation has been proven time and time again to be very helpful, it's gotten to the point now where, and I've mentioned this before, where you have the World Health Organization saying it's not necessary to even wear one. You have the CDC saying you absolutely should wear one. Yeah, I see where people get frustrated. And you had the Surgeon General in the beginning saying, why are you buying up masks? It's not necessary.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And now you have him saying, my God, put those on.
Yeah.
And so we're hearing conflicting information as we go along. On top of that, we're also being told, you can remove that mask when you sit down to eat, and it's okay.
Yeah.
Explain that to me. It's very confusing to know that, okay, the virus doesn't affect people when you sit down to eat. Yeah,
I think in a
that's
certain
when it
way,
takes a break.
Right.
Yeah, it takes a break. It goes on a lunch break at that point. Just with
And you eat too.
No, but I think they do that mostly just to try and make people feel some semblance of normalcy, right? Like they want to, they have to restrict us in certain ways, but I think they're trying to at least say like, okay, here's just a little tiny compromise, and it probably doesn't really make sense, but at the end of the day, even with that compromise and everything, there's still a lot of people out there that are unhappy.
Yeah.
So they're doing what they can. It doesn't take a genius to realize that even just talking and stuff, you're getting things out. There's spit and air coming out of you at all times. And that's just from talking. Imagine sneezing,
Right.
coughing, all that stuff. It doesn't take a genius to realize that putting a mask on is going to just make it stay more in your area. Is it going to completely protect everybody else? No. But if it helps even just a little bit, why can't we just do it? It's really not that difficult.
No,
I mean, we've all been in a monorail before where everybody's in your personal space at the end of the night at Walt Disney World, and then they're holding on and they're holding their kids and they go
Yep.
and then they cough in the air and I'm literally against the window and I'm just like, oh my God, can you open? And I'm just really scared. And then, little kids sneeze and they don't know what to do. So they just go, achoo, and then they touch everything. So again, we're just like, I get it. Sometimes it may seem redundant. You're going to sit down. You could take your mask off. That's fine. But just wear it for the sake of everybody else and for the sake of the cast members who have to be there every single day.
It's the easiest way to show that you care about your fellow human beings at this point.
Yeah. You don't have to give them presents. Just wear your mask.
Right.
Just go, I care.
I
and put
care.
your mask on.
Look at my face. I care.
Look at my eyes.
We will wait in anticipated excitement about whether or not Disney pulls back in any sort of capacity. I know we all want to get back to some semblance of normalcy. I know we all want to see our Disney parks return. But this thing is so fluid and things change week to week, it seems. We want them to do so safely, and we really hope that Disney gets this right and that the gamble pays off. Stick around, my friends. More Kingdom Report Live for you next.
Hey Kingdom team, do you need more magic in your life? We understand, which is why we connect you to more of what makes you happy 3 times a week. Catch our theme park coverage, vlogs, and reviews every Tuesday and Thursday. And experience the Kingdom Report Live, streaming every Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific. That's new content every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, crafted with you in mind. Don't miss out. Be sure to subscribe and activate notifications at The Kingdom Report on YouTube. And catch every update throughout the week at Kingdom Report Live on social media. See you there!
Kingdom Team All Call Time. This is where you have questions for us, and we try to, find them answers for you, and we get them to you as fast as we can. And you submit those questions over at KingdomReportLive.com or Kingdom Report Live on social media, or you leave comments down below for us in these videos. We so appreciate your engagement. And if you haven't already, go ahead, hit that like button. You like us, don't you? I like you.
Not love, though.
You don't have to like Curt, but you can like the rest of us. Is that acceptable, Curt?
I'm wearing the Team Kingdom shirt today
Well,
for you.
no,
Yeah.
no.
You are.
That made you look real bad.
So
That's
like-
true.
We like Stitch. We like Stitch.
Yeah, we
you
do
can't-
love
you
your
can't-
dog Stitch.
And so
I can't-
because
I
of
can't
his
fight with
relationship,
that.
we somewhat like Curt.
Yes,
By
that's a great way to
association.
put it.
Okay, I'll take that.
Yeah.
I'll take what I can get.
I appreciate that. Very good. Well, our first question this week comes to us from Alicia Tompkins. Alicia Tompkins writes, my family of 5 takes a yearly trip to Disneyland. We fly in from Utah and we stay for a week in October. Assuming we can, do you think we should still plan the trip or table it for next year? We recently got a question very similar to this, as a matter of fact, asking about a Walt Disney World vacation. And I figured it's worth answering it for Disneyland too. Katrina, being a travel professional,
You're going to start with me again?
share with us your thoughts on whether or not somebody should table a Disneyland trip, especially coming from out of state. You know, they're going to be forking over big money to come stay at Disneyland, likely a couple days. So knowing that, what do you say?
Again, I can't say that you should or should not do it. In my way, I would say, again, like I said for the people that were going to Walt Disney World, measure out your pros and cons. I mean, Disneyland's going to change, in my opinion, more regularly than Disney World, because Disney World's just so massive that Disneyland may be able to like change rules here and there, depending on like what's going on in California. But again, I would say if you're comfortable with no fireworks, no parades, no character meet and greets, dining may be a little different, and the rides may be a little different. You may not get in every single ride because you guys go regularly, then yeah, sure, might as well just try it. But if you're the ones that want all that magic, especially in October when Halloween's going on, and you may have done the Halloween parties, and the Halloween party hasn't been confirmed or denied that they're going to do it this year, Again, I would weigh out that pro and con because that's a lot of money to spend for an airline flight if you drive or if you fly and then staying at a hotel. Then you have to pay for the tickets, and you might not even be able to do a park hopper at Disneyland. So we don't even know that yet. They haven't even told us any of that information yet. So I would say weigh out the pros and cons and see if your family all agree that you guys should go, or if you guys should maybe table it and maybe do it next year. And then if you do it next year, you can save up money and then go baller and then go to like Grand California and stay there for a week. And then you have like a really legit like theme park view and stuff. Just think about it. It's gonna be cool.
Very good. Tyler, you feel like there's enough here in terms of information even for Alicia to plan out a trip? I mean, we still don't even know when these parks are going to open.
I hate to say it, but I mean, at this point, if you're really worried about it and you're just going to be on it, like planning a Disney vacation is supposed to be a fun thing,
right?
But if it's making you worry, then I would just cancel it because you will be able to get, if things look great in October, I think you'll be able to get a decent reservation back again. So just maybe cancel it. I don't know if there is enough to. We were just talking about it 5 minutes ago. We don't know what is happening in this world from day to day. So I just don't know if there is enough information out there to even feel good about having that trip planned right now. And if it bugs you, cancel it,
That's some great advice there. Gared, being Mr. Walt Disney World, what do you share with this person who likes to visit Disneyland and is looking to plan a trip?
All right. Well, here's your Disney plans. There's the table right there. That's all. And then they go, yeah.
For those visual learners,
I'm big on visuals, hence the shirt. But no, I'm going to say table it because you're not going to get that baller experience that Katrina's talking about if you go this year. Hold back on that. Stay at the Grand California and take yourself to the spa. You deserve it. If you're planning this whole thing,
it's not even open yet. We don't even know when that's going to open.
Exactly. No, I'm saying when she does go back and the spa is open, treat yourself. In the words of Tom Haverford. But no, go ahead and I say hold off on it because the experience this time will not be as majestic and magical as it should be. If you have young ones, they're not going to enjoy having half their things closed or having to do all the little small things. Like they're not going to enjoy it when they can't run up to the princesses or say hi to Mickey on Main Street. It's not that full experience. As we've said before, if you go this year, you should be a Disney veteran or at least a local where you can do this all the time. If it costs you a little bit more, hold off on it. There's nothing wrong with holding off. Disney's always going to be there. And eventually we might be able to go back. But until that time, plans on the table.
Just like that. Producer Curt, what would you tell Alicia about planning out a family vacation at this point? There's so many questions.
I mean, I'm kind of in the same boat where if you're out of town, probably don't plan a trip yet. Wait, the local people more likely to because there's just so little things you can do. You're really not getting your full money's worth. So to me, it just makes more sense to wait until you can get the full experience from it. And I don't know when that's going to be, unfortunately, with the way things are going. So,
well, Disneyland is likely to have some reservations set up for theme parks, much like Walt Disney World had. We've already heard that that's the plan. And many people that were planning on visiting Walt Disney World didn't necessarily get the days that they wanted, depending on their situation for the theme park visits that they wanted to do. So, Curt, in that regard, would you, because I feel like Disney World has so much more to offer in terms of, a staycation. You can, I think, do a lot more amenity-wise and recreationally than you can at Disneyland. Knowing the reservation process, right? Knowing that there's reservations that are going to be needed for Disneyland, that's a gamble too. Is that something to factor into this equation?
Yeah, I mean, for me, Disneyland, I like to park hop. That's what I do. I go from Disneyland to California Adventure. Like, we get a fast pass over Disneyland, then we go over to California Adventure, we do rides, get a fast pass there, and we're constantly going back and forth to knowing that we might be limited to just one park or one reservation is definitely a deal breaker for me. I like to be able to go and do everything. Just because I just feel like each park doesn't have a full day's worth of stuff to do.
Yeah.
They supplement each other so well, too.
Yeah, they do. They really do. And it's just... there's just so much I can't do, and I just want it all back.
I know. You got to have both parks so you can have multiple mugs. You can't just have the Disneyland mugs. You
Yeah.
got to go for the California Adventure mugs. You can't. The mugs are too precious.
Yeah,
to
you need your
only
sippers.
limited to the
Yeah.
park.
That's for sure. Yeah.
You know,
Dual park sippers. I stand where I've stood on Walt Disney World and planning a trip there in 2020. At this point, with all the questions, with all the confusion, and with all the worry that goes into whether or not these parks are even going to get off the ground the right way and what's going to happen with this pandemic next, you may want to consider canceling for 2020 and reconsider for a much bigger, more spectacular, better vacation in 2021. All right, next question comes to us from Wanda's Good 71. Wanda's Good says, with Disneyland not reopening on July 17th after all, will Avengers Campus at California Adventure get delayed again? Well, glad you asked. That is a great question. A lot of people have been asking about the projects that have been going on from coast to coast and whether or not this pandemic has really impacted those, projects in general in terms of construction capacity, because obviously workers can't work, and now a whole bunch of things get in the way. Bob Weiss, the president of Walt Disney Imagineering, recently weighed in on this, and he said, quote, "We have separate project teams working on these efforts, but we are still evaluating project timelines based on the extended closures we've experienced due to COVID-19. While several projects like Avengers Campus at both California Adventure and Disneyland Paris are able to surge forward based on where we were in development, there are others that will be picked back up in stages like Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway and Tron, and some that are longer term that we will need more time to assess. We are working with our operations partners now to determine timing for this project to get underway. For now, we know that both Magic Kingdom and Disneyland parks will reopen with the existing Splash Mountain attraction." So that answers a couple of questions for us that we had, as to whether or not, obviously, the Princess and the Frog going to be a huge retheme for Splash Mountain Song of the South storyline. It looks like Splash Mountain is coming back kind of as I predicted. I didn't think they were ready to go in and start tearing things down just yet. It seemed like a knee-jerk reaction just to get the story off the table.
Yep.
And so now we know for sure Splash Mountain's coming back the way that it was. Avengers Campus was pretty far along in development at California Adventure. Do you guys imagine that we're going to see, especially like with, think of Toontown, and Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway back there, that was just a pile of dirt when this pandemic started. They just knocked things down. Do you imagine we're going to see an Avengers Campus opening, Tyler, before the end of 2020?
No. Short answer, no. I think we'll probably see it. I'm actually going to go as far as to say I think we might not even see it until next summer.
Wow.
I know that's a
bold.
long way away. That's literally about a year away. I get it, but why would they open up this brand new experience when they're going to have to be limiting how many people can be in the park? They're going to know that everybody is going to want to go to that new experience, right? Every single person in California Adventure is going to be there to go.
Who doesn't want shawarma?
Yeah, they're going to go to get a shawarma and a giant pretzel, and and that's what's going to happen. And I'm going to get me that chicken sandwich, but
Gigantic.
It's a gigantic chicken sandwich. Did you see that thing? It doesn't
I
even fit
did.
on the bread.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Chicken for days.
so I just don't see them opening it because again, everybody's going to want to do that exact thing, and it's going to be think about all of the things too that one of the main things that they talked about in the beginning was all the character interactions you were going to have, and they have Doctor Strange making magic tricks happen and stuff like that, and pulling rabbits out of his hat, and then so it's one of those things where I just don't see it happening. Yeah. I mean he
I didn't know he had that.
he pulled it from space and time. I don't know.
That's right. He is like,
There's a
"Ooh,
portal."
shoot."
There's a portal. I have a hat now. No, but again, I know that seems like a crazy prediction, like a year from now, but I think it's going to be at least a year from now, because not only is the construction going to be slowed because they have to worry about all this corona stuff, but how can they open that? I've already said it like 3 times. How can they open it when it's going to be so crowded?
How can they do it?
How can they do it?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Katrina, you think 2021?
I don't think it's gonna be like summer of next year, but I feel like they were like kind of like on the cusp of kind of finishing it up. So I feel like it's definitely not going to open this summer, like they were saying. But I would say like maybe in like December, maybe it's like a big bang for 2021 in like January, like the beginning of the year, because you know it's going to slow down at Disneyland like towards the end of the year. So maybe they're going to try to like bring people back by like slowly phasing it open again. Yeah. Maybe like by like January 2021, and then have Spider-Man like fly out and say Happy New Year or something. I don't know.
As he does.
Yeah. That's what he does. He saves everybody and
Spider
he flies
New Year.
around and he's like Happy New Year's, and the fireworks shoot off.
Webs everywhere.
Yeah. Like, and then like my
Tell me
other thing
about
that we're thinking about is the spa at Grand Californian. I would like to bring that up because everybody's kind of like not talking about it anymore. It kind of just got swept under the rug.
There's a lot happening,
like,
Katrina.
And then, I mean, they barely even had it done. And now they're probably not even going to open that part of the Grand Californian Hotel and Spa part.
Yeah,
probably not until like 2021.
Yeah, are you going to have to like wear a mask during your massage, or how's
Right.
that going to work? You know, they're going to be wearing gloves.
I don't think they're even ready like to open it yet.
No, I don't think they are
Yeah.
either. But I'm just saying that, you know, how can you run a spa
Face down
right
when you
now?
get your massage only. That's it.
In a hazmat suit.
In a hazmat
Yeah.
suit, yeah.
Right.
Anyway, so there it is.
Interesting.
Portable sauna.
Yeah. I'm into that.
That's just Florida.
Yeah, that's right. Just step outside in Florida. Gared, what do you think about Tron light cycle run there in Magic Kingdom? There's that. There's Guardians of the Galaxy with their whole Epcot expansion project that they're doing with their big ride.
Ratatouille?
I was just about to say Ratatouille in France at Epcot. And then, of course, we did hear that the castle will be ready for reopening, the 50th castle, and we've already seen some shots of that from a distance. What do you think about Tron and some of the other projects in Florida? You think those are going to be opening when they had originally planned, or are we going to see those, kicked down the road a bit?
I think they're going to be kicked down a little bit. The Mary Poppins one at this point is probably not going to happen for a very long time. Yeah, but no, Ratatouille, from what I've seen, because I've seen that construction go from day one via the Skyliner, and I believe everything is ready. Maybe the outside isn't, but the internal components of it, like the trackless ride system, the 3D aspect, that's all ready to go. So Ratatouille would be probably the first thing to open up. It would pull a lot of business into Epcot, which is nice, except the only downside is it's in a back little corner down a tight little walkway, so that's a little risky. Guardians of the Galaxy, that one is going to be done in stages. They've just gotten done gutting out Ellen's Energy Adventure, which used to take place there. But I don't know what all is going on in the show building, so that one will take a little while. I can see that one maybe going 2021, 2022, honestly. Tron, however, I've seen that baby go from when it was just plot of land back there to now what it is, and it is coming along great. However, that one, Disney has said that it's possibly not going to be ready for the 50th anniversary. But remember, Disneyland had their 50th anniversary for multiple years. So which year of the 50th anniversary are we talking about for Walt Disney World? But I think with Tron, if it came out fall 2021, that would be miraculous. I think that would be spectacular, just in time for the 50th. However, if not then it'll be early 2022, because they have the entire track laid out. They have confirmed that. The next aspect is, first you have to create a walkway over there. You then have to create the bridge for the train that doesn't run to go underneath it. Then you have to create the queue, which is just, metal. So it's going to take a lot of work, but Ratatouille is at least going to be the first thing done. Thank goodness. Something fun, interactive. It's a really cute ride. But Tron is going to be on the back burners. But as for Avengers Campus, I say just push everything back until you can release the entire land as one. Don't do what they did with Star Wars Line, where they released it in two parts. Do it as one. I want a full
they're
shawarma.
not gonna
I
do
want
that.
half the shawarma. I want a full shawarma. I want the French fries. I want the ketchup. I want a sippy sip of the Coke.
Okay.
And on top of everything, I want some orange slices from Ant-Man.
There you go.
Yes, please.
I'm
Yeah.
totally with you on that. What you just said though about, I'm really sick and tired of them opening things separated, like in far apart, like they did it with like Pixar Pier and stuff like that. Like they need to have the whole thing ready, or don't do it at all. I think
it ruined Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Everybody was so disappointed.
Everybody was so excited to go for that first month, and then how many people went back besides Curt?
Right.
So,
50 times.
And I think that, honestly, I think the same thing's gonna
I
happen.
didn't even go back. I went to Disneyland and I didn't even go into the park. I was so surprised. I would come home and be like, wait a minute, I didn't even go to Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, Oga's Cantina is not going
Yeah.
to open right now.
Yeah.
And then again, like with Star Wars, it's like how many droids can you build?
Yeah, right,
Because
yeah.
Rise of the Resistance isn't even open yet until like the next year.
But I think the same exact thing is going to happen with Avengers Campus, unfortunately. People are going to go there. They're probably going to be like, oh, this chicken sandwich is delicious. Now what do I do?
Yeah.
Pretzel.
You know?
See, the thing that needs to happen is what they did with Pandora, the World of Avatar. I got to go to the preview of that, and if they would have been like, oh, just Navi River Journey is open, I would have been like, what?
Yeah.
I don't want to go on a Pirates of the Caribbean cheaper version of that. I want to fly a Banshee. So luckily, that, I don't know, that land's pretty dang big too. So I can't imagine that, like, they need to do stuff together, because when Walt was building the parks, he wouldn't be like, oh, we're just opening part of Tomorrowland. No. It's one thing.
He
if
sort of
you're
did,
adding-
actually.
did.
He kind of did do what you're saying.
Sorry.
Okay. It's one
But-
thing if you add just an attraction to a land, like how they added Indiana Jones. It's different versus them being like, well, yeah, I guess.
No, I mean, but
Oh no.
But we
It
agree
should-
with
it
you,
should-
though.
it
I mean,
should
we're
be-
in agreement.
It should be together, because I know they try and get like, oh, here's a little bite now, you get a little bite later. No, I just want a full bite all at once, because you want to go on the e-ticket attraction.
Yeah.
Why would you not want the e-ticket attraction? I understand if there's like
The
mechanical
McChicken attraction.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was like. I'm so stoked for that chicken sandwich.
I hope it's good.
We want the chicken sandwich, and we want the e-ticket attraction. I want to eat it while I'm on it.
That seems safe. And I know that the major e-ticket attraction that's supposed to be attached to Avengers Campus, that's years down the road. And I think the concern here for me, guys, is there's so much in terms of reduction of capital expenditures at this point, and obviously Disney has to recoup so much loss coming out of this pandemic that I'm terrified that we're going to lose a lot of these projects that were in the pipeline. We're going to see a lot of these things get pulled back entirely. As Gared mentioned, Mary Poppins, who? I mean, I don't think we're going to see that
Mary
anytime
Poppins,
soon.
more like Mary Not Poppins.
Thank you very much.
I gotta go. No, but the Moana attraction too. That's supposed to be a water playground. Are they going to encourage a bunch of kids to be playing with water together? It just seems like
I don't think they're going to do that for a while.
Right, probably
Yeah,
not.
because water is cool.
Oh, well, look.
We have a guest.
Stitch.
Oh, goodness. We have Kurt's dog,
What is
Stitch.
Stitch's take? Stitch,
Yeah, what do you think,
is Mary
Stitch?
Is Mary Poppins happening?
Yeah, well, we will see what happens when it comes to Avengers Campus and further projects potentially being delayed as Walt Disney World and Disneyland come back online following the global pandemic.
He's a
Kingdom
good boy.
Report live. Straight ahead.
Do you know everything the ghost host is going to say before he says it? Are you ready to thank the Venetians each time you board Spaceship Earth? Can you recite Walt's opening day dedication speech? Then join the Kingdom team today, the influential legacy fan community featuring exclusive merchandise that will alert all who've come to this happy place that you are more than just another guest. You are a trusted theme park fan. Don't miss out. Join the Kingdom team right now by visiting the homepage at kingdomreportlive.com. That's kingdomreportlive.com. And now, back to the magic.
Taking that live look outside one last time at the Disneyland Resort on this 4th of July weekend. We see the Esplanade there in between both parks where nothing is going on as per usual. Wonderful to have had you with us, my friends. So great to have spent some 4th of July time with you. Gared, quick question for you. We heard this week that it looks like Walt Disney World, ahead of reopening of theme parks, went ahead and just accidentally charged a bunch of annual pass holders months worth of dues. Did you get struck in that? Are you a victim?
I am a victim, and thank you. I'm actually forming a victim advocacy group to spread the word. But yeah, I saw the report and I was just like, that's weird. And I looked at my bank account, nothing happened. Then 1 hour later, I see it and I'm like, my money's gone. But I've read more reports that apparently it was a computer error. Is it? Or was it someone whose name rhymes with a C or starts with a C and ends with a K and the middle part's an Apic?
JPEG.
Yeah, he needed some extra paper. But it did happen to me, but I've read reports that it was a computer error and they will be pulling back on that. It's funny because I still don't even have access to my Disney experience. My annual pass isn't even on there, so haha, jokes on me. But it was unfortunate, but I feel bad for the people that have like multiple passes and it's like $600. I'm like,
right.
Woo! But you know what? It goes to a good cause, I guess.
Does it?
You know what? Just donate your future picks to Disney since it goes to such a good cause, and you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I could have used that money to buy more Disney stock, but why do that when I can spend the money and not even get use out of it? Because I'm still here in good old Nebraska.
Yeah, you are, with your hayseed and your $2 beer. Yeehaw!
Well, it's corn seed and soybeans.
Oh,
corn and soybeans, not hayseed.
Get that right, Wade.
$2 beer. I'm getting the accent. That is true, there, partner. I'm sorry if I offended anyone.
I feel like you should be wearing a cowboy hat with that shirt on, and
it's true,
and singing "I'm proud to be an American." That's right. Go get a cowboy hat. Thank you for that. All right. Checking in with the team before we head out on our 4th of July. Tyler, Katrina, anything to share? I mean, you guys went to Vegas?
Went to Vegas. I stayed in my room all Monday working, and then went and got lunch really quick, and then came back up, gambled a little bit, lost all my money.
Well, sounds like a winning formula.
I don't know why I want to go to Vegas. I just always lose.
We ended up having a great time. I mean,
we
had some nice dinners.
We had a great dinner.
And,
I got lobster.
It was nice to walk around, and we had a great view from our room. And we tried to stay in our room much more this time than we usually do. We really only took one day where we went out and walked around a little bit. But
it was refreshing to see it empty.
I was just about to ask
weird.
How busy?
Yeah, it was very strange.
If you know Vegas, you would know that all the streets are pretty much crammed with people walking around, and there was literally nobody. Maybe max, I saw 10 cars going around Vegas. In the morning, I saw maybe 3 or 4 cars when I sat out on the balcony and just kind of relaxed in the morning.
That is kind of surreal.
It's weird.
And
wow.
The other thing about Vegas that people don't know if you don't go there very often is I swear all times a day there's police sirens going off all the time. And I didn't hear one siren the whole time.
Really? I heard a couple.
Okay, well, you were up in the room for that Monday, but anyway, we had a great time. And
most importantly, did you win on the Britney
spots? Man, I think I did win on the Britney. I lost my money from other stuff, but I won. Britney
he gets a lot of bonus, the fun bonus ones,
Britney Spears is your girl.
And as they like to call it on the machine, I get a toxic win. That's what they call it, toxic win.
Oh. My gosh.
Which is really goofy, but that's one of the reasons I love to play it, because it's just so goofy. It really is. But
you roll up to those slots and you say, "It's Britney, bitch."
I do.
Yeah.
Wow. I wasn't expecting you to go for it, but I'm glad you did.
It's a direct quote. I would never say that in real life. No,
I really did. And actually, it was funny because we went with a couple friends too, and we made that our meeting place. We were like, okay, what do you do? What are we gonna do? Okay, let's go meet at Britney.
Yeah. There's only 2 slots left of Britney now.
She's the
in Cosmopolitan. She's about to. Yeah.
So she's slowly. Okay.
Yeah.
She's
so I'm gonna
now.
be sad when it's gone.
Yeah.
But yeah. Besides that, I'm still streaming a lot on Twitch, and you can check that out, Blue Jesta, and Curt likes to stop by a lot. So if you want to chat it up with Curt and me,
I usually try to engage, a little bit. I
Do
ask
you?
some questions.
Yeah,
I enjoy myself.
I'm glad.
It's a fun time.
I enjoy you coming around. It's awesome.
Drop some money in those super chats.
You know what? I can't subscribe to you with my Twitch Prime because probably you're not an affiliate.
I'm not an affiliate yet.
So
I'm not an affiliate
I
yet.
can't do that.
So, yeah, I can't get
All right, everybody, make him an
would've.
affiliate so him and Curt can hang out more.
Yeah. But but I would appreciate anybody who wants to come and stop by, even if you're not a really big fan of video games. Come and talk about Disney with me, because that's what I love to do. Let's do it.
Come do that.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Very good. Gared, any last words?
Yeah. Just stay safe, everyone. Happy 4th of July. Today is Sam Eagle's favorite holiday.
Sure is. He knows.
Yeah. But no, so in Florida, you can't shoot fireworks off because, everything's a swamp and animals and fires and all that fun stuff. And in California, ironically, you can't go outside So here in Nebraska, Ariel's family, they got a bunch of fireworks. Like these ones shoot like hundreds of feet in the air, which you can't ever get in California, even when I live there. So we're going to go blow some stuff up. It's going to be exciting. I'm going to do my own recreation of Illumination because Epcot Forever is terrible. But it's just going to be a big old grand 2-hour finale. You got 15 minutes. Oh no. 5 minutes, whatever it is. But it's going to be a salute to all
minute and a
nations,
half
but
is the quote.
America.
You got a minute and a half is what they say.
I've been gone from Disney too long. I'm forgetting everything. I don't even know the Spanish spiel for the monorail. Please stand clear of the doors.
Yeah.
I don't
You
know
forgot it.
anymore.
It's not
Sorry.
there
Yeah,
anymore.
see? Yeah. Proof.
I think it goes like s'il vous plaît or something like that in French.
Yeah.
Michael Bublé,
Spot
something
on.
along
Michael
those
Bublé.
lines. Yeah. Well, Gared, have fun out there in the Bible Belt, in the last free bastion of the country. We're just here in tyrannical California, oppressed in our homes, locked up, and not being able to even see each other in person. I mean, this has all been done by screen.
Yeah.
Every bit of it. So I can't physically see anybody in real life anymore. It's tragic. Oh my God, Tyler, Katrina, what are you doing here?
Surprise!
What the what?
We are very far from each other, though.
We
You're
are,
very
yes.
far
So
away from me.
we're socially distant. We're being responsible. That's for sure. But we hope you have a wonderful 4th of July. Stay safe, ladies and gentlemen. We want to thank you for being a part of the broadcast as always. And remember, a legacy of Walt Disney, it lives on because of people like you and me. See you next Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific, for an all-new Kingdom Report Live.